If you don't mind, just explain to folks at home listening what the concept of morphic resonance is.
It's the idea of memory in nature, the idea that the whole universe has a kind of memory. Each individual in a species draws on a collective memory and contributes to it. So what it means in effect is that if you train rats to learn a new trick in Los Angeles, then rats in New York and Sydney and London will learn the same thing quicker straight away. And it means that it should get easier to learn things that other people have already learned.
So this has been proven, this concept of rats being able to learn one thing in New York quicker because they learned it already in San Francisco?
Yes, it was done to test something else. It was done years ago, before the Second World War. A professor at Harvard called William McDougall wanted to find out if rats could learn quicker what their parents had learned. So he trained these rats to escape from a water maze. They had to swim. If they went out the wrong exit, they got an electric shock. And if they went out the right exit, which the wrong one was lit up with a light, the other one was dim. If they went out the right exit, they just escaped from the maze. And he tested them to see how many trials they made before they learned always go out of the dim exit. And the first generation took about 250 trials before they cottoned on to what was happening. The next generation, it was about 180 trials. The next generation, about 150. They got better and better. And he thought at first this was because there was something being passed on to the children, maybe through modifying the genes or something like that. That was a kind of taboo in 20th century science. And so people questioned his work, but because he was at Harvard and because he was a famous professor, they couldn't just dismiss it. He showed a huge effect. So people tried repeating his work in the University of Edinburgh, Scotland, and Melbourne, Australia. And they found that their rats started more or less where the Harvard rats had left off.
Wow.
And in Melbourne, they did an experiment that was particularly interesting. They went on getting better, the ones that were descended from the trained parents in each generation, but they found that all rats of that breed, even if their parents had never been trained, were getting better too. So whatever it wasn't something to do with modifying the genes, or what people would now call epigenetics. There was something else, much more mysterious, going on. And since no one knew what it was just ignored and forgotten.
That is really fascinating.